Have you ever been to one of those low-budget local amusement parks? Growing up, my family didn't have the money to take me and my brothers to Disney World like we always wanted. Instead, we had to make do with what the rundown rust factories called Slappy's Happy Place. It was the usual fare for a small-time attraction. There was a funhouse with a mirror maze inside it, a carousel, and some assorted games, like the ones you try to knock over the milk bottles by throwing a baseball from several feet away. The mascot of the place was a cartoon clown with green hair, red face paint, and wide-open blue eyes that would seem to stare in your soul whenever you turned to them. Unfortunately for me, this image was plastered all over the park. The day started out normal enough. We played some of the games, which I was pretty good at. I beat my older brother at ring toss and my younger brother in milk bottle game. Of course, that was by comparison. I know what those games are so rigged that you don't really win. But it was better than riding on some boring carousel that barely feels like moving. Our parents were keeping an eye on us from the shade as they tried to beat the summer heat. This place wasn't very crowded, but we weren't the only kids there. About dozens of families roamed the park that day, but judging by the expressions on some of the other kids' faces, Slappy's was far from being their happy place. Then again, we weren't exactly having the best time of our lives together, but we were actually making the most of it. Danny, my older brother, suggested we go into the funhouse. I wasn't against the idea, but my little brother Billy was scared of the dark. It wasn't pitch black in there, but it wasn't exactly lit up like Christmas Eve. The dim lighting did lend an eerie vibe to it, so I decided to stay with Billy. "What a bunch of babies," scoffed Danny. "You afraid of a stupid clown? Fine, I'll go in by myself, and you two scaredy cats can stay out here and cry about it." Then he defiantly strutted into the darkness of the funhouse, as if parading by some bravado after concerning skepticism. I was 8 years old at the time when he was 12, so I couldn't have stopped him if I knew what was going to happen. Well, nothing happened for a while after that was the problem. He waited for what seemed to be no less than a half an hour. I thought that he would have come out by now, probably with that same confident stride that he walked in with. But there was nothing. Other kids went into the farmhouse and came out merely minutes later, yet somehow Danny was nowhere in sight. I thought that he might be playing a prank on us and take advantage of our fear by simply waiting inside until we could muster up the courage to go in and look for him. Then he could jump out of some corner and scare us half to death. But he wouldn't really wait for almost 45 minutes? That wasn't likely, because he didn't have the patience for that. Our parents were starting to notice his absence as well, but they were a little too sure that everything's fine to get concerned about it. Perhaps I was projecting my own fear in this situation, and less time had passed than I thought. I suppose it's possible that he was lost within the maze. Either way, I was done waiting and I decided to go in after him. Reluctantly, I set foot into the darkened labyrinth of the literal smoke and mirrors. At the time, I didn't even know what a dry ice machine was, so I was a little more than nervous about it. With each step, I braced myself for the inevitable scare. I searched for several minutes and found nothing. I wandered through the seemingly endless of corridors of dimly lit colored lights, seeing my own reflection from a possible angle. The mirrors created an illusion that the room was much larger than it actually was. They also made it extremely difficult to find my brother, as I was beginning to think that he must have been through this whole place a few times when I spotted the exit and rushed towards it to tell my parents that Danny was missing. Then it happened. Just as I expected, he jumped out from the corner wearing a green wig and a clown nose, simultaneously tried to catch my breath, and sighed in relief that he was okay. Finally I said, "That wasn't funny." He took off the accessories and said, "Maybe not, but I got you good." He was right, but it was getting late and we had to get home. Later that night, Danny teased me with the wig and the clown nose again. I asked him where he got them, and he said, "I took them straight from Slappy himself." I didn't know what he meant. Apparently, somewhere deep inside that maze, there is a statue of Slappy complete with a costume wig and a rubber nose. I guess that's the goal of the maze, like cheese for a rat. Danny gloated about it some more until it was bedtime. I tossed and turned a bit, still thinking about the strange little park and the creepy clown associated with it. When I did sleep, I had a nightmare of being trapped in a mirror maze and hearing the endless laughter. A figure appeared on one of the mirrors behind my reflection. I turned around and saw Slappy standing there with an evil grin on his face, and I was shocked back at the consciousness. The morning sun was shining through my window, and Billy was already up. I walked past Danny's room, and the door was open, as was his window. He usually sleeps during the summer and keeps his door closed, as to not be disturbed. I went in the room to find it was empty. I didn't even notice anything until I saw the mirror scrolled on it. It was later determined of what to be face paint, with the words, "I am with Slappy now. I'm happy." Neither my parents nor the police knew what to make of it. They searched Slappy's to see if he went back there, but they found nothing. Eventually, they came to the conclusion that he was a runaway. My parents never gave up hope on finding him. That was until last month when the body resurfaced. They found him floating in a river, wearing the same damn wig and nose. The cause of death was an overdose of nitrous oxide, aka laughing gas. Some asshole cop said, "At least he died happy." He immediately apologized, but I refused to accept it. 10 years after my brother went missing, he turns up dead. Then a few days later, Billy disappeared too. That's why I'm here, doctor. Both my brothers went missing because of that fucking clown, and my parents think I had something to do with it. But I know the truth. It was him, and he's coming for me next. After all, I've got his nose. What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video, and I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Miss Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, please stay pretty.